The fascination with comparing Brock Purdy to Sam Darnold is starting to get borderline weird. We now have Julian Edelman going on with the herd to talk about Brock Purdy and this contract negotiation. For what reason did Sam Darnold somehow become the litmus test to be able to discern how good Brock Purdy is? It makes literally no sense to me, and I'll explain why it makes no sense to me after you listen to the logic that Edelman uses to try to justify why Brock is worth 30 million and not 50 million. I've already made it crystal clear about where the slotting lies with the payment scale and all that stuff, but just listen to what he had to say.
I have said I like Brock Purdy. You start talking 50 large, I don't like Brock Purdy.
Yeah.
I'd go Sam Darnold at 40 for 3 years over Brock at 55. And I think if you look at almost all, now wide receivers different. They come third round, fifth, sixth, seventh. Take out Brady. You look at most great quarterbacks. Right now, of the 14 playoff quarterbacks, 12 are first rounders.
Yeah.
Hurts is a second rounder. You drop to the seventh for a reason. Scouting is much more sophisticated today than 15 years ago and 20 years ago when Tom went. It's hard to find a sleeper. People like Purdy, but he was reckless. He was small. He struggles in wet weather. I can't pay him big money. I know he wins. I can't.
Yeah.
Am I wrong?
If there's a 5 in there, starting with a 5, that's going to be tough because of what we're seeing with Sam Darnold in Minnesota. I mean, this was his backup last year with the players and the semi-similar scheme that they have, and we're seeing what Sam Darnold is this year. I do agree that the 7th round thing, I specifically remembered I felt if I was drafted in the 3rd or the 4th round,
Yes.
I would have made probably 40% more money, but because I was a 7th rounder, I always got labeled with that. And, I don't know if that's going to be different with Brock. But just through this whole year, I remember going and talking about on kickoff in week 5 when they were going through a bit of adversity, they were starting to drop guys. I said specifically, this year will determine whether
That's
you're
right.
a $30 million quarterback or a $50 million quarterback. And through the whole year, it looks more like he's a $30 million quarterback, which is a great quarterback. He's a good football player.
Yes.
But we're seeing his limitations when guys aren't playing and when there's excuses. What did Sean Connery say? Excuses are for losers. Winners are the guys who go home and take the prom. That's the thing.
I always use the if rule.
Yeah.
If you're a quarterback that's an if, like Josh Allen is great. Brady's great. Good weather, bad weather. If you're an if quarterback, 2 is the ultimate if. If it's warm, you're at home, have protection, an offensive coach, and are healthy. Excellent.
Yeah.
A lot of ifs. Brock struggles in wet weather, struggles without McCaffrey, struggles playing in the 4th quarter, especially behind. There's a lot of qualifiers. If the first number's 5, you can't be an if guy.
You can't. And this is a product of this whole system.
Okay.
I mean, if you look at it, Tua's in the same system.
Yep.
Brock's in the same system.
Yep.
Jimmy G's in the same system.
Accurate, but nothing.
Timing. Yeah, exactly. And the only one who really has manifested the whole thing and won the Super Bowl is Matthew Stafford, who wasn't born in the system, who was born in a drop-back system that went to this system, the West Coast system.
And he's one of the all-time great arms.
And he's one of the all-time great arms.
Yeah.
And that's what this whole Shanahan-McVay system, it's a very quarterback-friendly system that allows guys to go out and get high production. Now, it's going to cost you when you have to go sign them because of that.
Yeah, that's a good point.
So the big emphasis from Julian Edelman here is based on Brock Purdy having the excuses because he's not having a great year. And on top of that, no one on the 49ers is having a great year. Defense, special teams, offense, everything across the board has been down. Maybe George Kittle and Juwan Jennings. Those might be the 2 players on the San Francisco 49ers who have played about what the expectation level was. Other than that, feels like pretty much everyone has been down for the most part. I mean, you could throw in Deommodore Lenoir, guys like that. But I think you get my point, is that nothing has gone well for the San Francisco 49ers here. There's been not a stitch of complimentary football to be sniffed until week 14 against the Bears. So there's yes, there's excuses to why the 49ers haven't been good this year and why we have seen Brock Purdy struggle as well. But then in that same breath, comparing it to Sam Darnold, as if Sam Darnold, who is in almost what I would consider a polar opposite situation of what the 49ers are this season, it doesn't make sense to me. So because Sam Darnold, in what year is this? Like his 5th year in the NFL, 6th year, 7th year in the NFL? I don't even know how long Darnold's been in the league when he was drafted as a top 5 draft pick to the New York Jets. But now that everything is perfect around him, phenomenal defense, great head coach and offensive play caller, offensive lines on point, great running back, one of the best receiving cores in the entire league, one of the best tight ends in the entire league. And all of a sudden, this is like, we'll see, this is why you can't pay Brock, because look at what Sam's doing. What? Like, good for Sam. Sam's having a great year. But did we forget that when all the excuses were around Sam Darnold, he got benched by 2 teams, the team that drafted him and then traded him, and then the team that traded for him benched him too. Is Brock Purdy playing so poorly that he deserves to be benched? No, absolutely not. Is he having some moments where they're unfortunate? Yeah, and they're under a microscope because everything else around him isn't working. So it puts all the pressure on him to be perfect. And when it's not, it's like, well, see, look. And it's just like, where is real analysis? Like, where is like actual, let's use our brain when we think of a take? I don't understand the fascination with Sam Darnold and comparing Brock to Sam Darnold, who are in complete different situations. And it's like, oh, yeah, we'll see. It's like, do you remember when Sam Darnold wasn't in a great situation? What happened to him? What happened to Sam when he was in a good situation? It's like, what are we talking about? Brock is 24. He's 24 years old. I get it. You don't want to pay him because he's not an elite quarterback. I get it. You don't want to pay him top of market because he's not an elite quarterback. He's a really, 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 really good quarterback, but he'll never get that elite tag unless he wins multiple Super Bowls where he's just phenomenal and wins a ton of games for his whole career, because he doesn't have the physical tools. He doesn't have the arm, the legs that, resemble Lamar Jackson or Patrick Mahomes. So no one's going to give him the elite tag. I won't give him the elite tag until he puts together multiple winning seasons and playing at a high level. And I've made that abundantly clear during the peak of his play. I just refuse to call him elite. I need body of work. And so, and again, it's like, well, is he a $30 million quarterback or $50 million? Jules, do you not know how the market works? You are paid to analyze football, and you don't recognize, is Trevor Lawrence worth $55 million? Is Tua worth 52? Is Deshaun worth 46? Is Jalen Hurts worth 51? Is like, the reason why we're talking about Brock at top of market is because his resume. The resume dictates where you're slotted. I don't know how many times we have to have this conversation. The resume is what dictates where you're slotted. Now, I'm not saying Brock should get 60 plus, and I don't think he will. I really don't. I think the sweet spot is somewhere between 50 and 60, maybe closer to 55 and below. I don't know. I'm not in those negotiations. I don't know what they're thinking, but I would have to say it's somewhere between 50 and 60. I would say that they're more probably between 50 and 55 is where maybe the sweet spot is. So, but that's the price of doing business. That's just the price of doing business. That has nothing to do with your opinion of Brock. That doesn't. He's beaten Dak. He's beaten Jordan Love. He's beaten Trevor Lawrence. He's beaten Tua. He's beaten Jared Goff. You can't argue that. So I don't know, man. This whole conversation is just spiraled out of control. But you guys can let me know what you think in the comments below. And as always, make sure to like and subscribe for more updates.